Guest is here. As soon
I'm
as I
sorry.
no, you're fine. Hey, you're great. You're look at that. You
I just came back from the gym and then I was legit like, I know I had to do something. And I checked Twitter and I see
try,
9 p.m. I'm like, yo, I got a podcast. I got to go on this shit. I don't want to, you know what I mean?
hey, look, this is we like that about that. We like that about you, and that's why you're a perfect fit for this show because this show's live. This isn't a podcast. We just happen to take it and put it out on the podcast
Yeah.
forums, but we're live all the
Well, I
time. And
mean,
yeah,
what's good to the live crowd, everybody? I'm the Prize City OG, the Prize Alec Price, the one and only Northeast Beastbuster Killer himself, Kowalski Blood, Northeast Captain. You know what I mean? How you guys doing? I'm glad to be on here. Thank you for having me.
anytime. Let me pull my notes around.
That was awesome.
In the meantime, you're from you as you said you're the prize of Eastern East Boston. You're a masshole.
Yup. You already know that.
Damn
Born
straight.
and raised. I was born in Southie, raised up in Eastie. I'm the product of two rival boroughs.
Wow, that is interesting. That's going to lead me right into this next question that I don't have on these notes here. A Southie and Eastie. Was it an Eastie? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, Eastie.
Okay, so Southie and an Eastie. One of my favorite movies of all. I'm not from Boston. I'm from New York, although I'm a big Boston fan. One of my favorite movies is The Departed, and a lot of Southie stuff in there, a lot of rivals. One, do you relate to that movie? Two, did you like it? How does it portray Boston?
Um, I mean that definitely like it. The game has changed since The Departed. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? The Departed was more of a take on like old school
right,
Southie,
right.
like when Whitey Bulger was in control. So more of like the 70s and 80s. That was more when the mafia kind of had their grasp on Southie, and like the Irish had Southie and the Italians had Eastie in the North End. So like now it's totally different. Like Eastie still gets down, but it's basically a melting pot barrel. Everyone's an immigrant in Eastie,
Mm.
so you have everyone. Like everyone and their mother, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter what you are, who you are, you're an Eastie. And the same thing for Southie now, because Southie kind of got gentrified,
Okay.
so it's not as rough as it used to be. Eastie still gets down. It's just starting to get yuppie eyes. Do you know what I mean?
I get you. I hear that.
But I mean, if you want to see some action, you go to like Dorchester and like
No,
Roxbury right
I'm not.
now.
I'm not doing any
Yeah,
of
like
that.
Mass Ave. You know what I mean? That's when
No,
you want to see some action.
I'm not doing any
It's
of
World
that.
War III down there.
I bet. Um, I was prepping for you. Was preparing. Looked into you have a big family, sports, athletic family, but you per se, weren't a wrestler. Like wrestling, you didn't. Your school, did they just not want to teach kids in
Nah,
Massachusetts to fight?
Boston Public Schools. They didn't want to teach
Inner titty. That's a new word.
inner city schools. Inner city kids had to fight.
Yeah. I mean,
Like if you go out of Mass, like out of Boston, out of BPS, they have wrestling programs in
right.
every single suburban school. But once you go into the city, they ain't got none of that.
As I said, you had a big family. I think it was seven people living in an apartment growing up.
Yeah, in a 2.5 bedroom apartment. Now, me and my dad struck out. My dad hit the lotto, and me and him bought a crib, 45 minutes north of Eastie,
Okay.
it's kind of like a castle to us. But growing up in a 2.5 bedroom apartment with 7 people, you know what I mean? Like all we had was each other. At the end of the day, like blood was thicker than water to us because we didn't have anybody else and we didn't
Right.
have anything. Like my dad was the only breadwinner, so he would go from early in the morning to late in the afternoon, come back, eat dinner, and go to sleep because that's just what he had to do.
How
We
does
were
that?
eating
Go ahead.
what?
No, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
Like it was just I mean, it wasn't easy.
Right.
Um, but like seeing my dad work like that, like I think the respect for everything. Like I wasn't raised to be a kid. I was raised to be an adult.
Mm.
Like that's why anything I put my mind to, my parents have always backed me and like you're gonna succeed. You're a Parnell, I know you're a Price, I know you're gonna succeed. So like anytime I did sports like football or track or baseball or soccer, or when I did like a little bit of karate, when I did, you know what I mean, boxing, or when I did when I started doing like, you know what I mean, like doing trash, or when I started doing wrestling, they were always there for me because that's just all we had was each other. And if we didn't have each other, then what we had, nothing.
Uh, you matured at a young age. You're paying rent
Hmm.
at the age of 15. Your dad hardworking. You instills that in yourself, as you just said. Uh, influenced basically everything that we see right now. How you're driven and passionate to drive your career. How did what wrestling promotion did Nana introduce you to?
It was the old school WWF at the time.
Wow, classic.
Yeah. Like I didn't really, because we didn't really have, like, I never watched pay-per-views. I
Right,
just watched live on TV.
can't afford
You know
that
what I
shit.
mean?
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Like, so she introduced me to Olds, but she was watching the Von Erichs. Like, she was watching wrestling before I was even born. Her
Right.
favorite was Carrie. She loved the Texas Tornado.
Oh man, someone else's Vanessa. Someone else's grandmother loved the Von Erichs too. I can't remember who it was.
I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
they were good-looking boys. You know
they
what I mean?
were.
They were good wrestlers. They had, charisma. Like, I loved Kevin because he
Yeah,
was just like a cool, unique high flyer, but he wasn't a high flyer, but he was. You know what
yeah,
I mean? Like, it was
yeah,
a mix between everything. It was pretty fire.
yeah. They're boys doing good stuff.
Yeah, the boys are doing great, and
Yeah.
they look exactly like, you know what I mean, the uncles and their father.
Oh
Like,
my
it's
gosh,
wild.
we had them on here one night, and they were late to the show, just like you. It was great. They popped right in, fresh off of mowing their lawn in Hawaii, I believe. They had no shirts on, first of all, so you know your grandmother would have loved it. No shirts on, sweating, beads of sweat coming down their face, and it was a great time, great insight. I mean, tons of experience there.
Oh yeah.
She would have loved it for sure. So correct me if I'm wrong. You have been wrestling for 5 to 6 years per se.
Yeah, 6 years now.
6 years. You're striving. You're trying. You may be. You've been in Limitless. You've done things in Beyond Wrestling Open. Where else have I seen you? Uncharted territory. But it all started obviously like a lot of people start with backyard wrestling. Um,
Hmm.
what made you want to go from backyard wrestling to basically not dying? What made you want to make that jump to training?
So I always wanted to be a wrestler since I was a kid. I used to tell my mom I'm either going to be a wrestler or an MMA fighter, and she would be like, "I'd rather you a wrestler because an MMA fighting, you get a couple of fights, and they really trying to like you can die." And I'm like, "Well, you can die in wrestling." She's like, "Yeah, but it's cooler." And I'm like, "All right, cool. I like that." You know what I mean?
Right.
But I joined my boy's backyard fed. I think it was freshman year of high school.
Wow.
So it's like freshman or sophomore year of high school. No, sophomore year of high school. And I joined it, and it was just one of those feds where it wasn't like we were trying to make money or like get fans or trying to get on like professional shows. We were in my boy's backyard in Dorchester with his grandma screaming over the railings saying, "Don't kill Spider-Man." You know what I mean? Like we were just having fun. So it was called ECA, and I did it for 1 year. And I remember like we had kept moving areas, and when we finally got to my boy's backyard, what we had set up was kind of like a base. So it was like we had milk crates, which a bunch of milk crates that I took from the 7-Eleven up the street from my house. It just was snatching them because my boy worked there. He was like, "You can have them." I'm like, "All right,
Yeah,
bro, you
just
gonna
take
tell
them.
me shit?" You know what I mean? So I put up a bunch of milk crates, and then we'd have two mattresses and a tarp over it.
Mm.
And one day he went to give me a Canadian, but when he went to give me a Canadian, he hooked my legs, my arms. He hooked his legs to my arms like a code red.
Yep.
So when he went back and I flipped, my head went in between the mattress. So like it hit the right spot where my shoulders bounced up, because if it didn't, I would have cracked my neck. Like
Oh,
where I was, I would break my neck. So
okay.
like by the
Gotcha.
power of whoever was watching over me that day came down and just like right in between the two mattresses split, and my shoulder stopped me from cracking my neck. And after that, I was like, you know what?
Maybe I
Because
don't want to die.
you know what? if I'm gonna do this, I'm just gonna get trained. Like my cousin tried wrestling, he did backyard and he got trained, but like I didn't know about that. But he used to like I guess he trained at Burns' school, like Richard Burns' school for like a couple of weeks, but he was a backyarder and he got hurt and then he couldn't wrestle anymore because he got hurt in backyard. And I'm like, I don't want to get hurt doing backyard. If I'm gonna get hurt, I want to be at least trained. Like I want to do this.
Right.
Like a year of backyard gave me that like, all right, I can do this because I felt like I was better than the people at my backyard. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I already the kid was like mini Vince McMahon. You know what I mean? Three strikes and you're out policy of the backyard company.
You're
Like
out.
he was
You're
a good dude, but he'd
fired.
be like, listen, you got three strikes and if not, you're out. I'm gonna start doing drug tests too. We're gonna start having weed tests and making sure everybody's clean. And I'm like, brother,
Dude,
like you're not. Where's the con? Like we're 15. You know what I mean?
we just
Like
don't want
I'm
to do our
18.
schoolwork. We're here. Just leave us
Yeah, like
alone.
we're here after. Like come on, dog. Like you know what I mean?
How
But
old was that
it was
person?
lit, huh?
How old was the mini Vince McMahon?
I think Seb was about like 19 at the
Okay.
time. So I was like sophomore year. I was
15, probably. 15,
no, no, because
shit.
I stayed back once. I started school late because my birthday's within the school
Right.
date
Yep.
of start, so I would have to wait till the next year. And then I stayed back in third grade because they wanted to, I have really bad dyslexia.
Mm-hmm.
It's gotten better over the years, like really bad ADHD and dyslexia. So like when I was younger, my I had like hearing problems because I had mad fluid in my ears. So I had to go to like speech therapy for years after they got the flu out. That's why
Yeah.
sometimes I'll be mumbling and fumbling my words. It's not
Nice.
because like
Yeah.
I'm doing it on purpose or I'm fucking like I'm off something. It's because like it happens naturally. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I got to get over it. But um, I like wasn't doing good in school. Um, and they wanted to send me to the summer school, but they never told me where I was going. And my mom was just like, you know what? I'm not gonna send you to summer school. She was like, you struggled through this year. What are you gonna do? Go through summer school to struggle through next year?
Right.
I think you should stay back, stay home, and just do third grade again. And
Right.
I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. And I did it. And then my mom put me in karate, and that kind of like jump started me and like gave me more discipline. You know what I mean? It kind of helped me kind of like hone my like ADHD and not be able to just be all over the place and thinking about shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, I just kept going. So I think it was like 16, 17 in freshman year, or it was 18, no, 18 in junior year. So yeah, so 17, I was a sophomore when I was 17. So it was like 16, 17 when around that time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because my birthday's within the year, so it doesn't start. So it'd be like 17, yeah, 16 to 17, then it'd be 18, then 19, and then like I think 19 I was supposed to graduate, and then I dropped out for 2 years. But I didn't technically dropped out. I just didn't sign papers. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
just stopped going to school because I started working in wrestling and I was working a full-time job. And I never really was a kid to go to school. You know what I mean? It wasn't like
It
I
wasn't for
had
you.
bad
Wasn't
attendance.
meant
I
to
had
be.
great grades.
Yeah.
Yeah, my family's not like this. Like we're raised to be workers.
Right.
Like we
That's
were
what you
raised to
said.
be
Yeah.
adults since we were kids. We weren't raised to be like, you know what I mean? Like school's great, but if you're gonna get a job, get a fucking job and work 40 hours a week. That's what I was doing. And then I tried to go back, didn't do it, and then like I went back a second time, and I remember it was like crazy because I was like I didn't want to hit up the people because at the time I was like I was about to hit that mark of like I was too old to go to school, so they
Right.
were gonna ship me out to the adult programs, and I hit up my counselor, Miss Curley, and I'm like, Miss, like, is there any way like we can talk about me coming back? And she was like, I was just thinking about you, like. There's been a lot of moments in my life where it's like I've had like I feel like you know what I mean, like chances,
Yeah.
like too many chances sometimes, but like I appreciate it. And she was just like, I've been thinking about you. Come on Monday if you're serious. And I went in and I stayed the whole year and I ended up graduating and got my diploma. And like I just hit 21 and I was like, bro, they didn't kick me out. They were like, you're already auto enrolled, so it's easy like that. We ain't gotta worry about nothing. Just shut your mouth, show up to school, you're graduating, kid. And I was like, all right, cool. You know what I mean?
But it's like that guidance counselor gave you that olive branch, opened that door, you know?
Gave me that, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And like, the teachers were great too, because like my teacher was my old football coach, Coach Paz, and then Miss Canary, I think it was, but I could be Miss Carey. And Paz didn't care. He just gave you a worksheet and let you do your thing. You know what I mean? But
Right.
they knew I was wrestling, and they also knew that I was out of school for 2 years. So they were able to like let me do me. You know what I mean? And like they didn't treat me like a kid. Like I would come back from wrestling. I would come back from like big time wrestling when I first started. Just came back from North Carolina. I'm like, Miss, I just got back. I came back in at 4. I have 2 hours of sleep. Is there any way I can just sleep? And she would be like, yep, just go in the corner. You ain't got to worry about it. And then she would let the other kids know, like, hey, Alec just got back. Don't mess with him. He's going to sleep. Like, Alec is not a kid like you. Alec has been out in the
Yeah.
adult world and he's been wrestling all weekend. So if you mess with him, he's not going to be happy. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like, they're all like my little brothers and sisters. So they all be cool and shit. But it was lit. Like, you know what I mean? I'm kind of grateful that they let me back in
Well,
and let me be able to get my GED, not my GED, but my diploma.
right.
You know what I mean?
And it takes, I mean, kudos to them, those teachers, the counselor, the football coach who was also. I work in the school system, and it take like they knew you as a person, they knew who you were, they knew how
They knew my
hardworking,
family.
they knew your family, how hardworking you are, where like that means a lot to you personally to finish, get done, and not have to ship you out to adult school and whatnot. Because you probably, if they would have shipped you out, I don't know, maybe I'm speaking for you, but you probably wouldn't have done it. You would
No, I probably wouldn't have. I
you
would have
know
back to work or
you had
wrestled.
a
You know what I mean?
job. You're already an adult. Basically, you're an adult since 15. You're paying rent for the family,
Yeah,
right? So,
it
wow, whew,
happens. You know what I mean?
right? Yeah,
But like, I got it and I got my diploma and like I felt like a weight was lifted off my shoulders. And I feel like at that point I was able to evolve and finally start progressing as like more of like an adult than as a wrestler. You know what I mean?
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, all right. So, you trained at. Okay, you said a lot of things there. Threw me for a loop. You trained at the. You. That's
You're
okay.
good.
It's all right. This is what the show is. I write all these bullet points down
Yeah.
and I never get to them. It's my ADHD. We'll handle it. We'll deal with it.
Oh yeah.
You trained at the Bell Time
ADHD
Club.
bros for life.
Yeah, right. Nothing wrong with
Let's
that.
go.
I got two kids upstairs. Got the same goddamn thing. Um, see where I am? You just got me. Bell Time Club. You trained at that. With Bo Doug. No, Bo. Yeah, Bo Doug. Yeah, Bo
Bo
Douglas.
Douglas,
Bo
the
Douglas.
dynasty.
Wow, Bo Douglas was the name of a middle linebacker for the Jets as well. Just gonna throw that out there. Or was it Hugh Douglas? I don't remember. Anyways, Bell Time Club, Bo Douglas, you changed the dynasty. But you mentioned something, big time wrestling. That's in Massachusetts, right? That's John Cena
Yeah.
Senior's wrestling thing, right? Isn't he involved in that?
No, no, it's Steve Ricard and
Okay.
yeah, Steve. Oh no, Steve Perkins. Steve Perkins and Terry Allen.
Big
They
time
run big
wrestling.
time wrestling.
Okay, big time. I don't know what I'm thinking of. But Bell Time Club
John Cena Sr. did do a show with
with them.
like we're on a couple big time. Yeah, like
Okay.
the Lynn shows and stuff.
That must be what I'm thinking of. Um, you went in. We're approaching tax season. If it wasn't for tax season and that tax refund, you wouldn't even have gotten a Bell Time Club.
Yeah, no cap. Like it was like I feel like it was fate because it was like I hit on my mom like I talking to my mom about wanting to be a wrestler and I couldn't find a spot and like I looked up spots but they were all in other areas and my mom was like, "Hey, like I went to high school with somebody that's a wrestler. You know what I mean? Like he actually wrestles right now. His name's Pat Dillon." So she was like, "Let me hit him up because I know he like has a school or he knows somebody that has a school." So we hit up Pat Dillon. I started talking to him. I started really getting like into him and telling him about everything. And then tax season came and my parents forked up the bread because they realized I really wanted to do this. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like like my parents had no problem supporting us when they knew we really wanted to do it. Like if they had to struggle for a couple of weeks, they would struggle for a couple of weeks just to make sure that we were happy. So started at the Bell Time Club February 23rd, 2017 on the Bo Douglas and Benny Jooks. Had my first Royal Rumble at 3 months, had my first singles match against my trainer, Total Loco slash Benny Jooks, at UFO Wrestling, 6 months. And then when I hit, I think a year, I started going on the road with Big Time Wrestling, with my trainer. And I'd go up and down the East Coast to North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, Pennsylvania, everywhere,
I mean, you were on
Maryland.
you were on this path, this trajectory, this path. Let's not try to say that other word. You're on this path.
Trajectory.
Yeah, thank you. You're on this path of just like superstar. Like you were on your way, in my mind, to get signed. Then this stupid pandemic hit, derailed
Yeah.
everybody, derailed in the entire independent wrestling world. Um, do you? I mean, did that bring you down? Like, how did that make you feel, like, mentally? Just
I
it,
mean,
you were
mentally, when wrestling wasn't here, I was kind of lost, and I
right.
kind of started to slip into the bad habits that I was doing before I was
Okay,
wrestling. You know what I mean? Like I was selling drugs, I was chilling out with my friends. You know what I mean? We were having problems with people. I had a lot of beef. I was just doing stupid shit that I didn't have to do. You know
right.
what I mean? And it was because wrestling is the only thing I feel like I was put on this earth to do. Like I love wrestling, and I feel like anytime I've done sports my whole life,
Right.
but those sports I never felt like were me. When I do wrestling, I feel like it's me. Like I feel like this is what I was meant to do. So when I didn't have it, I was lost. But I actually, I'm appreciative of the pandemic because that's where I really started to grow as a wrestler. When the pandemic started to be over, but it was like still during it, we had like Limitless Wrestling started doing the road tapings.
Yep.
And that's when it was like I started focusing more on cameras and other shit and kind of started growing me because I'm like, all right, fans aren't here, but now I can take this opportunity to grow myself and test this out and try this. And that's how like the real Prize City OG started. You know what I mean? The
Yeah.
Prize Alec Price before grew into the Prize City OG during those road tapings, and I started to evolve more as a wrestler. And I feel like because of that, my name was out there because Limitless was the only thing running,
It was. Yep.
and it's because we just figured out the format, and then everyone was trying to do tapings, but the road already took over. And like at that point, I was working 5 to 6 matches in a day. You know what I mean? Like I'd do 2 days, 12 matches, and then it'd be like 3 months later. All right, road season's up. Let's film a new season. 6 matches in a day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so I progressed, and then we started doing like the live studio limitless like limitless show, like not like the road, but the limitless shows. And then I feel like because of that, I was able to build my name, kind of really find out who I am as the Prize City OG because like it's hard because I'm not like another character. I'm myself times 10.
Right.
So when you ask somebody who are you, it kind of stumps you because you can't really explain who you are. So when I had that time, I really started figuring out like, okay, this is what I am, and I wanted to wear. I like my fucking fanny pack because fanny pack never lacking, and I like my windbreaker because it's a Tommy windbreaker, and I like my shorts like this, and my boots like this, and my socks pulled up like this, and I like to say this and that, and it was like there was that evolution period that I needed. And I feel like if it wasn't for the pandemic, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now.
Probably that. It's so interesting how you put it like that because you said like at the start of the pandemic, and we won't dwell too much on the pandemic because I got so many other things. But at the start of the pandemic, like you fell back into the rut and the shit that you were doing that was just not good for you. Um, Selling drugs and whatnot. Wrestling before so wrestling took you out of that. Like wrestling saved your life.
Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, so I could imagine how the pandemic, because wrestling saved your life, going hitting that path, that trajectory, and then Boom, stops. Everything stops. You're like, shit. She made it out. We got out.
Yeah, I made it out. And like that's the thing. That's why East E's the prize city. Because like and I'm the prize city OG because no
Yeah.
one's made it out of East E. I want to be the first that makes it out and puts it on the map.
Independent wrestling. We've talked to many talents in independent wrestling. I have gathered it's like a brotherhood. It's a family. Um,
Yeah.
everyone is for each other, but in the end, you guys are all vying for that same booking, that same spot. So how do you set yourself apart from everybody else to get that booking?
I just be me. That's the thing, like
Yeah.
the best wrestlers find what they do best and like find what little unique stuff that they do and they bring it in. So like I'm just me. People think my offense is wild and crazy, and it is crazy and wild, but like it's really simple. I just do it my own way. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And like that's just how you got to do it. I sell like when I go in the ring, you have Alec Price. You don't have anybody else. You're gonna get the same Price City OG every time. Not the same match, but the same person. You're not gonna get no, bull crap. You're not gonna get 30% or 20%. I'm going in there to have a banger. I don't care what spot I'm on. You know what I mean? I do have respect for people that are ahead of me in the card. So I do like, if I'm on first match, I want to have the best first match I can have. So the second match has to go ahead of me and have another bigger. So it keeps building and building and building. But I want to have that banger. I want them to be like, wow, that was the best first match I've ever seen.
Um, building matches, having the best match you've ever seen, building on momentum. I might have my dates out of whack here, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. But I want to ask you about upsetting Josh Briggs and your experience in the Pride of New England tournament. A lot of big names in there. How much did that influence where you are today?
It was Josh was trained originally before going to Chaotic. He was at Hollows because Mike Hollow, after leaving Chaotic, started doing like single trainings and stuff. Now he's at Elite Pro Wrestling in New Hampshire,
Right.
which is a good school. But he started with Hollow, and Hollow had my trainer Benny use him. So my trainer Benny trained him. And then the first independent wrestling show that I think it was UFO, the first UFO show I went to, I seen Josh on that show, and I always wanted to wrestle him. And I was like, I don't know, bro. I don't think I'm ever going to be able to wrestle him. So when I got to wrestle him in that Pride of New England, it was like a full circle moment because my trainer trained him, and now he's in there with me, and it's like it's that big brother, like holy fuck,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I remember watching this dude as a fan, and now we're wrestling, and like he gave me, I kind of evolved that match, and New England. I feel like that tournament was good for me because I evolved as a wrestler. I kind of started to learn the next level of where I wanted to go and what I have to start thinking about if I want to get signed or if I want to start getting bookings on big indies and start producing better quality matches. Instead of just producing random indie matches, I want to produce a match. I want to tell a story. And like wrestling him and then wrestling Carmelo Hayes or Christian Casanova
Yep.
was just awesome because these two guys were the top guys in New England at the time, and I was just a little young pup out of a black, you know what I mean, out of a hole in the wall school,
Yeah.
just trying to, fight for a spot because there's a million of me trying to fight for a spot. And I feel like they seen something in me, and they really kind of they gave me a lot. You know what I mean? Like they didn't have to give. You know what I mean? Like I was like 3 years in, they were cool with me, but they gave me a lot for, you know what I mean, for that match. They didn't have to give me that much. So I'm just glad that they did, and I was thankful for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I really grew because of those matches.
Um, I get that. I totally get that. Very grateful. The next match I want to ask about is in Limitless Wrestling. When you became champion. I'm pretty sure it was November ish, November 13th maybe, against
Yeah,
a Limitless legend in my mind, Anthony Green.
yeah.
Uh, how impactful was that match on your career?
Oh, that's when it started blowing up.
Yeah.
Like I remember before the Limitless belt, it started to kind of like build up, and I started noticing like, wow, bro, I just wrestled Josh Alexander and Eddie Edwards in the
Mm,
same weekend.
mm,
You know what I mean? And I'm like thinking to myself, like, what the hell? And then all of a sudden, it's like I beat AG, and then it was just everywhere. Like I got my first flight to Texas, and then all of a sudden, I was working 5 days a week or 4 days a week instead of working 2 shows a week or maybe like 6 shows in a month. You know what I mean? Like I started putting on dates, and I was looking at it like, wow. And like I remember AG, he said to me before he left, he was like before he left to the E, before when he got
yep.
signed, he was like, "Hey, bro, you ready? Because we're gone. So you gonna step the fuck up?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, at first I was like, "Who me?" He was like, "You're gonna be the guy." I'm like, "Nah, I don't know." You know what I mean? Like thought he was just messing around with me. And then like I just remember winning the title. He was like, "Bro, you are the fucking guy." You know what I mean? Because like growing up in New England, bro, I was the person that people would watch and look up their match and laugh at when I was a greenie. Even though I was a couple weeks in, they would laugh at my shit and they would make fun of me. And I was the one person that no one ever expected to start doing shit or make it or be in those opportunities or build my name, but I did it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And like that was it. Cause especially going on Limitless, like I worked my ass off to just progress and get better and just build my name and like build Limitless and like I cried that day. You know what I mean? I bawled. I don't bawl like that, but like I bawled. I was in tears. You should have seen me in the locker room. I was Brady's giving me a hug. I'm like it was great. That was it. I blew up after that.
um, you said some things in there. You weren't. You're not the. You didn't come from the top name, a top name school. I'll say you're not the biggest dude in the world. Um, for those at home live here tonight or those listening when we push this out, uh, describe your in ring style and how much does psychology and storytelling play in the way you construct a match because you're not the biggest to step in. Gotta suck people in somehow, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think I have a face only a mother can love, and I'm a polarizing figure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I know people are either gonna love me or hate me. I can either open my mouth and they're gonna start booing me, or I can do a little dance and they're gonna start liking me. You know what I mean? Like psychology and storytelling are big. I kind of that's what pro wrestling is.
Yeah.
Having random matches is fun, but it's nothing. Like, what does that? What does that really entail? Like, how am I really being a pro wrestler? Like, the craft of getting, like, you have to have and get it. And most people think an indie match is a martial arts movie where it's go 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 go. Yeah, that can be a martial arts movie, but martial arts movies have stories.
Yes, they do.
You know why the motherfuckers are fighting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you know why they're fighting. You know why they got beef. So when they fight, it means something. So why like these fans are coming here to watch a show and see stories come out. You know what I mean? So they want like they don't want to just watch random matches. If they want to watch random matches, they'll go on YouTube. No, they want to be a part of the show. They want to see the story. They want to see the fight. They want to see the struggle. They want to have that empathy. So it's if you don't have that, what are you really doing as a pro wrestler? Like people don't listen to the fans. People don't care about the fans. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes fans can overstep their boundaries, but I wouldn't be anywhere without the Worcester fans
Right.
or the Beyond fans or the Limitless fans because you know they really seen me grow from a greenie holding cables every week at Uncharted to getting my spot on Beyond, and then all of a sudden I'm facing Biff and I'm the top guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I just when I go in there, I'm a ballsy loudmouth with a death wish. I'm a high flyer, but I'm more of an in your face, hard hitting, kind of like kind of like hood jitsu. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Yeah. Makes sense.
I like to fly. My thing is kind of rebound. Like it's a give and take. You know what I mean? So I when I look at a wrestling match, I would watch it back in the day and be like, why don't people just do this? Like if someone's whipping you at the ropes, why don't I just put my foot on the rope and rebound back?
Right? Makes
Or
sense.
like what, like you know what I mean? Or like, all right, if you're throwing me, why don't I just spring off and go back into a move? Like I feel like I'm a rebounding kind of dude. It doesn't matter where you throw, I'm coming back at you with something. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And that's
Yeah.
how I was trained. My trainer was the same way. When we used to roll around and chain wrestle, every time you'd go to get him, he would reverse you. So you had to get him before he reversed you, even though he's reversing, you got to get him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's you have to have that kind of. I like the unorthodox kind of anywhere goes ring. Use the ring in any means necessary. You got to use your environment. I feel like not a lot of people do that. You know what I mean?
Um, Psychology. You're thinking. You're always thinking.
Yeah.
Calling it on the fly. I'm going to take a quick non sequitur to wrestling because somebody in the chat, Marie Shadows, wants to know what your favorite movie is.
Ooh, 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 ooh. It depends on. It really depends on like on the groove of the night. You know what I mean? But my favorite movie of all time is Jurassic Park.
Ooh.
But my favorite comedy of all time is Step Brothers.
It's a classic. Both are
You know what I
classics.
mean?
I get it. I get the vibe. Both are classics. I must be in a very laughing, comedic mood tonight, but both are classics. Jurassic Park. Whew.
Yo, Jurassic Park's the best. I like I like dinosaurs and monsters. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
me
I've always
too.
been kind of like a monster fan. Even like Godzilla 1998 or Godzilla 2000. I like that movie. I used to pop that in the TV with the VHS all the time,
Let's
bro, as
do
a
it.
kid and just watch that on reruns. Like it was a dinosaur, and then I was like, "Oh, it's Godzilla too." Like I love the new Godzilla MonsterVerse too. The new one's a fire. Have you seen the new
I
one?
have not. Wait. The new what? Jurassic
Yo,
Parks?
nah, the
No.
new
Oh,
Godzillas.
no, I have not.
Bro, you gotta watch them at fire. They take the they make it more animalistic. So instead of Godzilla doing it to like hurt humans, she's doing it to attack the other kaiju's in their territory. Like she's territorial. The Earth is her
Yeah,
territory. You know what I mean? She's the alpha. It's pretty fire.
nice. Yeah, we'll look at. I'll look at that. Jurassic Park. Big in. I love Jurassic Park. Trying to get my kids into it. I showed them the original. They couldn't care less because they lack attention span and just like I couldn't give it to them fast enough. Couldn't give it to them fast enough. They gotta watch it like TikTok, like a playlist or something.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah,
Like
um,
show them like 5 minute videos of it.
exactly. Great question, Marie. I don't know the best way to transition back into wrestling, so I just won't. I will ask you
Cool.
this: you've had you've had some experience with you've had tryouts with the WWE, I believe, maybe Impact as well. I'm not quite certain on that. But you've
No.
also been you have not or have
No.
no. But
Not yet.
you've had a W not yet. We'll get to that. You've had a WWE tryout, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been
And
at MLW before.
yeah, and I think you've been on Dark or Elevation or both.
Not yet, no.
Neither one. Okay, so
Hmm.
either way, you've had the teasers, the tryouts for the major promotions. What was your biggest takeaway from each of those, and how do you feel you can get better at, based on the takeaway that you took?
Uh, I was extremely grateful for the opportunity that I got. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
last year with the WWE tryout. Um, it's just wild. It kind of it was like you go there and you always want to go there. You know what I
Right.
mean? You always want to be a WWE superstar. So when you go there in a tryout and you're in the hotel the first day, it's just not real to you
I bet.
until you actually step in the PC and you're like, whoa, you know what I mean? Because you just see WWE everywhere and you see all the professional stuff and you really look at like what they do and how they, that they're looking for wrestlers, but they're looking for sports entertainers. And I remember like realizing the difference. People used to say all the time like WWE, like it's bad that they call them sports entertainers. I don't think it's bad. I get why they call them now. You know what I mean? They want elite level athletes that are able to branch out outside of wrestling. And like, if you really want to make it, you're gonna have to figure out a way to branch out outside of wrestling and kind of like be a multimedia market. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a professional wrestler, but now I'm trying to figure out how can I go to this or how can I do that. I was started thinking about starting a new like a YouTube channel where it's like one of those YouTube shows. You know
Yep.
what I mean? Like it's a podcast, but it's a YouTube show. And then I'm like, all right, how can I extend to more audiences? You know what I mean? Like how can I like it's all about on TV, I figured out it's all about how can you make them money.
Right.
You're a product at the end of the
It's a
day.
business, right? Yeah, you're a product.
It's a business. I feel like not a lot of people really think of it like a business. Like after that, I really realized, all right, this is what I need to do. If I want to start taking myself seriously, I need to start making these steps and start progressing this way. And it really kind of helped me like see what that level is and see what they want and the criteria. So now I have a goal to set. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to set those little goals, but I have that goal to set and I know what it looks like. So now I just got to keep building until I can get to that.
WrestleMania weekend always a huge weekend, big weekend for you. A couple years ago in Texas, what was your WrestleMania weekend like this year?
This year was good. I wrestled 3 times. I was thinking I was supposed to wrestle four, but one of the shows didn't happen. But I wrestled 3 times. I wrestled at VXS on Wednesday. It was me versus JTG. We had a banger. That was crazy because I got to wrestle somebody who was like one of my favorites as a kid. I loved Crime Time.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yo, what size are your shoes, man? Yo, my size. You know what I mean?
Oh my god! That's how they would take your shoes.
When they would take his shoe, it was the best one. Like it was the best Like they had the best promos.
That's
So
real life.
that was
That's real
fun.
life. That happened to me in New Orleans.
I know it's real stuff.
That's
I
real
used to
shit.
bounce it all the time.
Yeah.
Why do you think I would never like if you were in middle school and you were wearing Brett 11s, that would happen to you? What size are your shoes?
My size. You don't fucking answer.
My size.
Don't answer if they ask you.
Just walk away.
Just keep going. Put your head down and go.
Yeah.
But yeah, so WrestleMania in Texas, WrestleMania this year. This is what I was leading to. This is my transition. You're everywhere. You're everywhere.
Yeah.
You're always in the biggest matches. I haven't seen that type of exposure from an independent talent. The last time I saw it was Daniel Garcia and Wheeler Yuta, both signed right after the fact. In my opinion, you're gonna be somewhere soon. And I said to Vanessa today, I was like, man, it's so fucking great we got him on because he's gonna be signed somewhere soon. Whether that's WWE in NXT starting down there, whether that's MLW, whether that's AEW on Dark or Elevation and build up from there, whether it's Impact, which is where I think you fit best. You're
I
gonna
love him. I'm an X Division baby.
right. You look like a fucking X Division champion to me.
I appreciate that. You know what I mean? I grew up on that good X Division too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, classic X Division. I bet.
That classic X Division, yeah. That shit was golden. Like even like yo, I remember that was my favorite. It was the most unique title too. You know what I mean?
It sure
Like
was.
the second one too was it was just beautiful. It was you know what I mean? It was a chef's kiss.
I gotta type something.
I'm sorry,
out.
I got you off track.
No, it's fine. I thought of a question. I had to type it down before I forget. Because we burned through all our notes, so that never happens. Okay. I just mentioned AEW. I just mentioned Impact. I just mentioned WWE. Okay.
Yep.
Phone rings right now. We're talking. Your phone rings. It's a contract. You pick the phone up. It's a contract. Who do you hope is on the other end?
Anybody that wants to offer me a contract.
There you go. I like that.
Like, not gonna lie, you know what I mean?
Right?
Don't get me wrong. There's places that I really want to go, but I ain't gonna be stingy if they're gonna pay me. You know what I mean? Give me good money to like wrestle for a living.
I
And
agree.
that's always like exposure, and that gets me more like, say if I get signed to a place that's not WWE,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like say if it's like an Impact, it's going to be a great
It's
place. They
still a
have
step.
vets there. They have people that have been there for years. They have that's experience that I haven't gone yet. Like even though like I did an MLW, I wrestled for MLW on a taping and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was great. And I got that experience of TV wrestling because I never had that. So like if I got signed to another contract, that's just to me that's more experience and a way to build myself and progress as a professional wrestler.
I agree. I think I mean I'm not a wrestler, but that's probably how I would play. I'm living my life through you. That's probably how I would do it. Um,
You know what I mean? Yeah, anybody who wants to offer me money, you know what I mean? I'll
uh,
take it all, take
well,
it.
it's a business,
I'm
right?
joking.
It's a business.
Yeah.
We're here to make money. Let's do it.
The thing is, I'm not really worried about. I'm like right now, I want to get signed, and that's my goal.
Right.
But I'm focused on getting better and like growing myself. So I want to get bigger. I want to keep getting. I want to keep building my name. I want to still like do some of the stuff on the indie scene that I haven't done. So when I go to WWE, I have all that experience, and like, or if I go to AEW or Impact or MLW, I have that experience, and I'm a bigger name. You know what I mean? And like I go in there with instead of like going in there with nothing, I go in there with at least something.
Right. What is something on the indie scene you haven't done yet that you hope to do?
I want to wrestle in Europe.
Okay. Nice.
Hopefully, I can maybe possibly get that done this year. I think every time I say stuff out loud, I manifest it. It happens. I said last year I wanted to go to LA at the end of 20. It's going to happen at the end of 2022. I got booked for West Coast Pro
Oh,
in January, and then all of a sudden there was a GCW date the last weekend of December. So I'm
nice.
gonna get there this year, but I want to go wrestle in Europe. Um, I kind of want to have that. I want to train out there. I kind of want to like maybe go. I want to go to Germany. I want to go to Italy. I want to go to the UK. I want to. I want to go. I want to end my line or my like European trip in Portugal because like I have family out there I never met. And just keep progressing. Like if I got to keep building myself, like everyone's road's different. I
Yeah.
can't say I'm gonna get signed tomorrow or today, but I'm gonna get signed. I know I'm gonna get signed.
I
So
agree with
I
that
just got to
statement.
keep progressing.
The last time I felt this confident was with Billy Starks, and there's news out
You
there
know what I
today
mean?
that she got signed. So I feel very confident. But what do I know, right? But you said you want to go out there, you want to progress, you want to make yourself better every day, all the time. I have failed tonight in the really cool, like promoting your shows type of thing. We got your links out there, and you can promote those at the end. But I do want to know, what do you have coming up? What can we promote? Where can we see you?
So I got some good dates.
Ooh, I like that.
I
I like good
know this
dates.
Thursday I'm at Open. I know I have something on the 15th, but I have to check. 16th I'm in New Jersey for DPW. That's
Okay.
gonna be fire. Next week I have HOG Hog in Brooklyn, New York. I got Limitless Wrestling on the 22nd. Um, and I have so many dates that I can't remember, but those are the ones for the next 2 weeks right now. It's just I get like 4 or 5 days a weekend, so I have them in my calendar. But like I legit go, all right, this week, this week, next week. I'll worry about it next week. You know what I mean? But I know I got a bunch of GCW dates coming up. I'm everywhere. I'm moving and grooving. I'm flying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's lit.
You got all those dates. They come and they go. Where can people go to make sure they're always up to date, always have the times, the right promotions, and all that jazz?
Go to my Instagram and Twitter. It's at Price City OG, same handle. Facebook, I usually barely use, you know what I mean? But you can still go there and add me as a friend. It's Alec Price. I got an Alec Price Facebook page. I got a Pro Wrestling Tees. Go cop your merch. I usually have merch on me. Snapchat's only for the woes. But if you
Ooh,
want to make sure, you know what I mean? You want to
yeah.
make sure you keep up with Alec Price, just look up on my YouTube channel. Go to IWTV, go to Fight. I got a match every weekend. You can always watch my matches on there.
Spectacular. Give us all one match to watch tonight. Pick one. What do we watch?
Right now, Jordan, me versus Jordan Oliver at
Oh
speed.
my man, that's
You
hot.
know what I mean?
Oh, I love Jordan
That was my
Oliver.
match.
Yeah, he's a
That
phenomenal
that
talent as well. Um,
Yo, he's fantastic. That's my brother.
yeah. We had him on this show like when we were first getting it kicked off. He was so grateful. He's just a great human being. I hope he's doing well. If you see him, but you'll see him before I do. Tell him we said hi.
I
Um,
got you.
yeah. Something we do at the end of every show, Alec, is I'm going to give you the mic now. I've talked enough tonight. I'm going to give you the mic. The floor is yours. You can say anything you want. You can put over anyone you want. You can bury anyone you want. I literally don't care. I will not interrupt. The floor is yours.
What's good? I'm just gonna be real. I'm gonna be quick. Twitch screen, right? I want you to do one thing. If you're watching this Twitch stream, I want you to do one thing. I want you to go to Facebook. I want you to go to Instagram. I want to go to Twitter. I want you to follow these guys automatically. If you're not following them and you're watching it stream, what are you doing? You're a straight buster. All right? Go watch Ichiban. Number one, go watch Miracle Generation. Go watch Wrestling Open right now. It's the best thing on IWTV since ever. You know what I mean? Wrestling Open is it. It's happening every day or every Thursday. Worcester, Massachusetts. We're getting about 300 people. The city of Worcester is loving us. Check out my Instagram, Twitter. I got more merch on the way. I'm about to have new T-shirts coming. I already got logos set. I'm about to try to make a YouTube show with me and my boy Jimmy James. So, go to my Instagram, go to my Twitter, and figure it out. You know what I mean?
Alec, phenomenal job. You're welcome back anytime. The door is open. Sky's the limit, man. Have yourself a glorious night.
Hell yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Peace. We'll talk to you soon.
Peace.
Peace.